So one afternoon, I received a call from a client and he told me, Mr. K, a friend gave me your number and he told me that you are the only one that can help me in this situation. You see, the road to my site is very bad that I don't even think a paver can enter into that road. And I was like, wow. So how do you want us to lay the asphalt there? And he said, I was told that you are the only one that can answer that question. I was like, okay, no problem. Let me see what I can do. So I decided to visit the place. The road was really terrible, but I said, let me go and prime first. And then I sent my tar boiler. Wow, this is what we got. The tar boiler could not even penetrate. It was so terrible that the tar boiler almost fell. But however, we just had to maneuver our way. And then it had rained very heavily and the site was messed up. A truck had passed through and the ground was just unstable. We had to wait for it to dry a little bit and then dress it and prime it. It was time to think of what to do. Ah, right here, I had to spend a long time drawing, trying to design what I will use to lay this asphalt. At this point, it was clear that we can't use paver on that road because paver cannot even access the road. And we can't use hand to lay all that as a 500 meters. It's going to be too stressful. So we had to think of it. After some intensive research, I started by drawing out what my mind was telling me to do. And then we started working. Okay. Now it's time for fabrication. Then we started doing it. Okay. At this point, we were working seriously hard with both materials. And then we started working. Okay. And people were like, what is this guy doing? Even the guy that's fabricating with me was like, are you sure of what you're doing? We worked day and night, serious work. There was no time to rest, trying to meet the target. Okay, at this point, we had a structure. Okay, we had a framework, and then we were still working. You can see it's in the skeletal form right now. It started taking shape at this point. Okay, the wedding was still going on. A lot of activities was going on. And then we had finished and it was time to test. We walked into the night, but we had to bring a truck to test it that night. We just had to work. There was no time to waste. And then we moved to site. Yeah. The machine was there in the site. And then we started coupling, putting some things together. And then we were prepared. The stakes was high, man. This is just our invention. We've not used it before. We don't know if it was going to work. And then we started coupling and we started bringing the chains. The truck of asphalt was already there, so we started connecting the chains, getting ready to work, fixing everything together. It was that's me there dragging chains, man. It's not been easy, all right. So we just had to, like, the truck was coming, the truck was fully loaded, ready to deliver asphalt. This is the machine. Everything was in order, everything, and everybody was like, what is this? People were like, oh, they've not seen this kind of thing before. Is there going to be a breakthrough? We didn't know, but we just knew that we had invented what was in our mind. Myself and my partner, Engineer Ben, okay, we had done something and we're ready to start and then see what the result of what we have invented was going to be like, okay? So now it was time to, hey, cameraman, stay one place now. What's your problem? Okay, so we started. Then the truck was reversing, the truck was coming, all right? At this point, the stakes was high. Everybody was like, man, my heart was panting, like, have I done this well? Okay, so yeah, let's go. The truck came, then it was time to fix the chains. Before offloading, we had to fix the chains on the back, on the under the trunk of the truck. Okay, so we fixed it, and it was time to offload. All right, yeah. So it was time to drop the first trip. Okay, no, we've not fixed the chain yet. The truck just had to come and then offload some material into the chamber of this formidable JZ machine that we have made called the drag box. Right, so this was the first time the truck was offloading. After offloading, so I had to fix it myself because everybody was like, what is this? Nobody could really comprehend what we were doing. So I had to fix these chains under the trunk myself. All right, and then it was time for us to experience the drag boss, the JZ drag boss in action. So let us see this. You know, it was new to everyone, so even the rakers were just trying to, like, arrange the asphalt inside the chamber. All right, so we had to on the vibrator. The vibrator was expected to shake the material and make sure it spreads evenly. Now it started dragging. This was the moment we all have been waiting for. Then it started laying. Wow, this was so amazing, and everybody was amazed. Everybody was like, geez, what is this? The experience was such a wonderful one. Look at the drag. And everybody was like, what is this? What is this? People could not believe it. The villagers came out in their numbers and were like, what? None of them have seen this before. Drivers were amazed. Everyone was amazed. What is this? And then, it was so fulfilling. It's one of the most beautiful things that we have seen, to see that we could lay asphalt with the drag box that we invented, and we didn't have to, use low bed, use paver. This took the place of paver, and it was such a wonderful. Here we were so excited. Myself and my partner, you could see how we were laughing. It was such an amazing experience. Yeah, it was so amazing. We had to pop some drinks after that work that day. So now, after laying one side of the road, the challenge came: how do we move the machine to the other side of the road, seeing that the machine was very heavy? And then we thought and thought and thought, and we were like, okay. And then this is what we did. We connected the machine to the steel roller, and then the steel roller had to drag it to the new position, where we just had to invest some minimal effort to turn it around, and then started laying again until we were able to cover both sides. And the experience was so amazing. When you have a bad soil like that, you see a paver sinking into the ground. But in this case, there was nothing like that. This drag boss was able to lay over the ground, calling me an inventor there, without any issue. So this is how we created the first ever made in Nigeria drag boss, asphalt drag boss, and it worked. At this point, it will not be out of place if you call me Mr. Kingsley, the asphalt doctor.